welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name's Angela. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Rainbow Ange. You can also find an Instagram account and a Facebook page for my little yarn shop business. We're called Yarn and Yarns. I run a small bricks and mortar store here in South Wales in the UK in a little town called Penarth, just outside of Cardiff. Very big hello and thank you for joining me today. Here on the channel you'll find videos which mainly consist of me chatting about knitting, crochet, sometimes spinning and sewing, and often there'll also be little snippets of my adventures of being a yarn shop owner. So it's actually been less than a week since I recorded my last video, but I've got a really busy week coming up. We have got my family coming to visit next weekend, so that's going to involve plenty of housework for me, boo, over the next week, so that will be occupying my evenings. So I thought while we have a relatively quiet Sunday, I would grab some stuff and record a bit of the video. I am also probably going to record another section, but I will do that at the shop. We've got some new products and things in the shop that I thought I might chat about. So this first section of the video will be the normal me chatting about my finished objects and works in progress. And then a bit later on, hopefully, there'll also be another section from the shop. So if you're not really interested in the shop stuff, then you should be able to just watch this first part and skip the rest if you wish. So as I said, it's Sunday. It's been raining really heavily yesterday and overnight, which is really nice. It's really cooled the temperatures down. So it's feeling like a nice kind of cozy day. It's trying to brighten up a little bit, so apologies for the strange lighting. I'm in my craft room, which is the attic room, and I've got a window just up there, so all the light at the moment's coming in, but it is what it is, so we'll work with it. I do have a nice cozy cup of tea this morning. I haven't been drinking a lot of tea over the summer. I'm not one of these people that drinks hot drinks in the hot weather. I know people say you should because it helps cool you down, but I just can't face it. So as the temperature is nice and cool, I have got a lovely cup of ginger tea in my Hurdy mug, which is one of my favourites. James gifted this to me a couple of years ago for my birthday. So yeah, anyway, waffle. I shall get on with the stuff that you are perhaps a little bit more interested in. So I have got one finished object to show you, a couple of works in progress, and I also thought I might chat about a couple of upcoming planned projects. So I shall start with my finished object, and these had just become a work in progress last week, and I have finished this gorgeous pair, oops, sorry, knocking the chair, that you want this gorgeous pair of opal socks. I love these so much. I'm so gutted they're not for me. They're for one of my lovely customers, but these just, yeah, these flew off the needles. I cast them on either last Sunday or last Monday, and I finished them off last night. So my sock mojo has been well and truly reignited with this lovely pair. I just love the sort of skinny stripe sequence with these beautiful yellows and oranges and down to these reds, just my lovely favourite colours, and then these tiny little stripes which have these little flashes of blue. So this is a new yarn from Opal. I did quickly show you the label and everything last week, but in case this is your first time, I will just flash that information again. So this is what I've got left in the cake. I'm kind of hoping that my customer will let me keep the leftovers, because I reckon if I put in contrasting heels, toes and cuffs, I could get another pair of socks out of this for me. And we've sold out of this colourway in the shop already, so I might try and get some more. It's been pretty popular. I've been knitting these in the shop this week, and a few people have just fallen in love with this sort of stripe and colour combination. So yeah, it's sold out pretty quickly. So it's this opal yarn, Reginald 14. They're based on nature, and there's obviously a picture of some kind of pretty goldfish on there, and it's colourway 9627. So I knit these on my 2.25 Chalgo needles, which are fast becoming my favourite for sock knitting. I really enjoy knitting on those, so here they are actually. So they're nice metal tips, reasonably sharp but not as sharp as hires, and I really like the cable on these. It's nice and flexible and doesn't really kink. I like my higher sharps, but I've got a few sort of kinks in the cable where it's bent, but this sort of cable seems to retain a good sort of memory, and it's not super sort of stiff and curly either, so yeah, really enjoy those needles. So I cast on 64 stitches, did a 2x2 rib for 12 rounds, 50 rows for the leg, 65 rows for the foot, and then just a wedge toe. I popped in an afterthought heel on these because I didn't want to interrupt the stripe sequence. I managed to get a fairly close match, I think, in terms of the striping, so the only thing that really differs is the heel. For the first one, I pulled from the middle of the ball, because by the time I got down to here, I had almost reached this point in the stripe section where I wanted to start the second stock. So I sort of wound off probably a gram or two of yarn, which wouldn't have been enough to complete the heel. So I pulled for the middle of the ball for the first heel, and then just carried on from where I ended on the second. So yeah, afterthought heel, I basically knit one row of waste yarn and then slip the stitches back, and then once I have finished the toe, then I go back and basically just knit another toe. So yeah, as I say, I love how these turned out. I soaked them last night, and even though the weather's a lot damper today, they're pretty much dry, so I should be able to take these. My customer comes to our Monday morning group, so I should be able to give those to her tomorrow, and hopefully she will be very pleased with those, and if she isn't, then I'll just keep them for myself. I'm pretty sure that she will like them. So on to works in progress. I have got 3 works in progress to show you today. I still forgot to bring my crochet project from the shop, so if I remember when I record my little segment from the shop, then I will try and show that project too. But for now, I have got 2 garments and 1 pair of socks to show you. So last week I mentioned that I was going to try and focus on my Harriet cardigan this week. Well, I had a reasonable amount of knitting time, but there were at least 2 evenings where I didn't really get to knit. On Thursday evening I stayed for our group, which goes on till 9 o'clock in the evening, and I was knitting on the socks there because that's an easy project to knit and chat. And then on Wednesday, I can't remember, we were just really busy, so I didn't really get a lot of personal knitting time, and this is kind of like my evening knitting. So anyway, I did manage to finish the back of the jumper, so I was working on this when I showed you last week, and I think I had a couple of sort of dot rows to do before doing the sort of back shoulder shaping. So that is now done and off the needles, which is great. And I started the first of the front pieces. So this is how far I have gotten with that. So I've cast on the lovely solid orange ribbing, and I am working up that first front piece. I did a quick calculation, and I think I worked out I needed to do about 17 of these dot rows to get up to shaping for the armpit. So I think I knit on this for 2 evenings, and I managed to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the dot rows. So yeah, it's coming together reasonably quickly. I'm pretty pleased with that progress, and I think I will probably mostly work on this project today. So yeah, we're not doing anything today, and James will be cooking me a nice roast dinner, so I'll have a day off from the kitchen as well. So with any luck I might get up to the armpit shaping on this one today. I'm definitely going to keep going on that one. As I mentioned last week, I want to try and have that finished by the end of the month, so that when we come to change the window at the shop, then I think this will make a nice sort of striking piece in the window. So just as a reminder, this is knit in West Yorkshire Spinners Gems, Wensleydale, and the colours are Granite is the dark grey and Fire Opal is the lovely bright orange. I'm knitting those on 4mm needles, and these are my Knit Pro Royales, which are the nice wooden needles with the metal tips, and I'm really enjoying those for that yarn. And the pattern is Harriet. I believe it's designed by Sarah Hatton for West Yorkshire Spinners. I'm keeping that project in a lovely bag that I made myself. It's this beautiful mustard fabric. I think this is a Dashwood Studios fabric, which I picked up from John Lewis, but I could be wrong on the brand. It definitely came from John Lewis anyway, and I paired it with this grey bottom. It's a reasonable size bag, and it copes with a lot of stuff. So in this bag I have the 2 sleeves, the back piece, obviously the front piece that I'm working on. I usually keep the pattern in here, but at the minute the pattern I left downstairs. There are also 3 almost full balls of yarn in here. I'm working from one of the Fire Opal, and when I was working on the back of the garment the other day, I had almost got to the end of a ball, and I'm keeping all of my spare yarn just in a corner over here in the craft room. So I was up here sorting some bits and pieces out, and I thought, oh, I'm nearly at the end of that ball of granite. I'll wind another one up so that when it comes to it I can just carry on. So I did that, took the new wound up skein downstairs, and realised when I went to put it in this project bag that I'd already wound up another granite skein. So I'd obviously forgotten that I'd done that. It's been a while since I picked this project up. So this bag has got 2 almost 4 balls of granite, as well as the Fire Opal. So there's a lot that you can pack in one of these bags. So yeah, that is my Harriet cardigan. The next project that I'm going to show you, I've just picked this up and started working on it again this morning. So after I finished the opal socks, I thought, oh, I'm going to start a new sock project. I have got one more skein of opal wound up for another commission. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I'm not starting that yet, as I'm waiting for my customer to come back with some measurements before I can really get started on that one. So I almost started. Actually, I'm going to show you those balls now because it all kind of ties in. So this is the opal yarn that I've got ready, wound up, waiting for my customer to come back to me with measurements. It's a customer that I've knit for before. Actually, I've knit quite a few pairs of socks for her before, but she's got some issues with her health at the moment, and she has to wear some pressure stockings. And she wanted to know if I would knit her a pair of socks to go over the stockings, because it's likely that she's going to be wearing them for quite some time. So she'd already purchased this yarn, which is another lovely one from Opal. The colourway for anyone who is interested is 9534, and it's from the Opal Safari range, which is another relatively new one. And there's a picture on the ball band of what we can expect when I start knitting it up. So not exactly stripes, sort of patches of colour, which seems quite fun. I'm looking forward to starting that one. But the Debbie Bliss Rialto socks that I had shown a couple of episodes ago as a finished project were knit for this customer's husband, and I usually knit either 64 or 68 stitches for this customer, depending on what needle size I choose. and her husband's socks were a 72 stitch sock. So I've asked if she will try those on over her pressure stockings to see if the 72 stitch stock would be big enough. Obviously if they are, then I can crack on with these, but until then I've just got this wound up and it's on hold waiting for that. I contemplated, and I even wound up my yarn, I'm going to show you, casting on for Joji Locatelli's 2 colour socks, which, if you haven't seen them, are a beautiful pair of socks that have got stripes in the leg or at the top of the leg, a lovely bit of lace on the sort of bottom portion of the leg, and then the foot is kind of colour blocked. So you need 2 colours of yarn for that, and I picked this yarn out ages ago. I purchased that pattern almost as soon as it got released because I just really like that one. So I wound up these 2 balls of yarn. They're both Wendy Rome, and I was going to cast on for the 2 colour socks. So I was really excited to do that, and then I thought to myself, come on Angela, be sensible, you have another pair of socks for yourself on the needles that you cast on as part of your 12 cast-ons of Christmas. So instead of casting on these 2 lovelies, and before I stop talking about them, I'll just tell you, this is shade 2001 in the Rydale colourway, which is a lovely dark grey. And this is a really nice kind of heathered purple, which has got sort of shades of blue and pink. My camera's definitely not going to pick that up. Maybe you can see a little bit. This one is shade 2006, which is Windermere. So obviously these have got a Lake District theme going on, which I love. These are just 75% superwash, 25% nylon. They're quite a nice sort of rusticy, hard wearing feeling yarn. So yeah, I still really want to cast this on, but I'm being good today. I instead picked up my festoon socks. So my festoon socks are living in this lovely project bag that was sent to me by my friend Lisa, who is Use Your Yarn. It's a Japanese knotwork style, so it's a nice one. You just kind of tuck the large handle inside the small to keep everything together. And I cast these on as my 12 cast-ons of Christmas. The pattern was published in the anniversary edition of Pom Pom, and I still have hankering to make all of the projects in this issue. I've made the wrap from this issue, which is Sevilla by Thea Coleman. So festoon are my second project from this magazine. I'm just trying to flick through to find the picture of the socks so that I can show you. There they are. So this is a pattern by Rachel Coopy, gorgeous pair of pattern socks. And back at the beginning of the year, I told myself that you know, I've got loads and loads of pairs of socks for myself, and I love knitting vanilla socks. But I said to myself, if you're going to knit more socks for yourself this year, Angela, you should challenge yourself a little bit more and do a few pattern socks and things like that. Just so it's because I can churn out a pair of vanilla socks fairly quickly, as the opal socks that I started last week show. And I had a hankering for a pair of pink socks, so I cast these on. But sadly, these have just been languishing, so they have not seen the light of day since I cast them on back Christmas, New Year time. So I controlled my cast-on-itis, and I have got my festoon socks back out. And I'm really pleased that I did. I've only added 10 rows or so to these this morning. So I'm knitting these also in an opal yarn. This is Opal Unicolor, and the shade is 5194. It's this gorgeous bright pink, which is going to completely clash with my orange background, and it's blowing out quite a lot, but it is really pink. And when I cast these on, I had a hankering for a pair of bright pink socks, and I still do, so you know, win-win. But here is my progress on my festoon. There's not huge amounts to show, so you can see the patterning starting to form on the front of the leg, and the back of the leg is just a ribbed pattern. So there's lots of twisted stitches and small sort of 2-stitch type cables on this. So it's one, I mean, you don't really have to concentrate on the back of the round, but on the front of the round, every row you need to follow the chart and sort of just concentrate on what's happening. Yeah, hopefully now that I'm back to working on these, they'll knit up reasonably quickly. And I am happy with my decision not to cast on the 2 colour socks just yet, and work on these, because it'll be nice to have these off the needles. And another project completed in my 12 cast ons madness, which I'm definitely planning on doing this year. Is it nuts that we are only part way through August and I'm already starting to plan what I want to cast on for my 12 cast ons of Christmas this year? It probably is, isn't it? Anyway, enough waffling. Festoon socks, I'm knitting those on my higher sharp needles. I've actually gone for a 2.5 for these. I'm knitting the smallest size. There's 3 different sizes. I usually cast on a 64 stitch sock for myself when I'm doing a vanilla sock. Obviously the textured nature is going to give it slightly less stretch on the front, but the ribbon pattern should give plenty of stretch on the back. So I thought, actually, rather than going up to one of the larger stitch counts, I'd stick with the 67 but do them on 2.5 millimeter needles instead of 2.25. So hopefully that will work out. The other thing that could be a slight issue with the fit is the leg is a lot longer than I usually knit my leg. So you do 2 lots of the pattern repeat, which is 64 rows plus the little cuff at the start, and then it's a heel flap and gusset. But on the picture which shows, I'm just going to see if I can show this without showing any of the secret sauce. They don't look hugely tall, so I'm hoping it will be okay. I don't tend to knit very tall socks for myself. I don't particularly like them, and you know, I'm not a small person, so my legs get quite chunky quite quickly, so I don't tend to knit really tall socks just because I'd have to be faffing around with increases and shaping and stuff. So yeah, that's it for my festoon socks, and I've already planned what project I want to cast on after I finish my festoon. Look, I'm barely into this sock and I'm already scheming as to what I want to knit on next in this magazine. And I really want to cast on for the Kaylee jumper, which is a pattern by Julia Farwell Clay. Yeah, that's gorgeous. It's a worsted weight jumper with pockets, yeah. Quite simple with some sort of garter panels. I do like complicated knitting, but I love the style of like simple stockingette jumpers. I just do. Can't help it. Lots of boring knitting, but that's okay. That's like in front of the TV knitting. So my final work in progress is a new one. It's a bit of a naughty cast on, really. So I was sorting out some of the boxes of yarn that I brought home when I first took over the shop. So if you followed my journey, you will have heard me talk about this before, so apologies. But basically, when I took over the shop, I bought the business as was. I took all of the yarn stock, everything that was in the shop. The shop was a little bit of a jumble when I took it on, so I started by emptying a bunch of stock from the shop and I brought it home. So a bunch of older yarns, discontinued yarns, some things that were still current but that I wasn't that keen on stocking. And this summer, in order to try and help us generate some more income over the quieter summer months, I have been listing a lot of that stock on eBay, which has been great. I have been managing to sell a fair few of the things that we've listed. I've got rid of probably about 5 or 6 boxes of yarn, which is brilliant. And when I was sorting through one of those boxes, I came across one bag which had about 10-ish balls, 9 or 10 balls of this yarn, which is Rowan. It's called RY Classics, and basically it was a little series of yarn that Rowan brought out. I don't know how long ago, a fair while, probably at least 5 or 6 years ago, but I don't know to be exact. And this yarn is Cash Soft Chunky, which is a blend of 57% wool, 10% cashmere and 33% acrylic. It's lovely and soft, and it's in this beautiful chocolatey brown colourway. Now, I should have kept, well, I've wound up the rest of the skeins now, but a lot of the skeins were really scruffy, so this one is reasonably neat. But these labels, they're just kind of like parchment kind of paper, and although they look quite nice, they're absolutely useless for keeping any sort of semblance of togetherness in these balls. So a lot of these skeins, the labels were missing. They had been sort of unwound and rewound around themselves. So I really wasn't happy, even on eBay, listing these. So I started to think, well, I love this colour. The yarn's nice and soft. Can I make anything for myself? So I popped onto Ravelry, did a quick pattern search. I almost went with I found a couple of lovely bulky weight or chunky weight shawls, which I almost went with. But I have got a couple of thicker weight shawls, and I do enjoy wearing them, but I don't wear them as much as my fingering weight shawls. So I thought, if I don't wear those, and I've got also a worsted weight shawl planned for the not too distant future, or the yarn is there waiting patiently to be cast on. So I thought, if I could possibly do a garment instead, I would prefer to do that. But I had limited quantity, and obviously I am not a small person, so the quantity that I had left was not enough to do a lot of the patterns that I found. However, as I was scrolling through, I found the Lee Tea, and the Lee Tea is featured in this book, Madder Anthology 2 Simple Pleasures, which, as you can see by the fact that I'm holding this book, I already have this book in stash. And a couple of years ago I knit the lovely Lucinda jumper from this book, and you'll have seen me wearing it on the podcast before. I've got it, if you've watched the podcast before. Mine's in a nice red colour. So here is the Lee Tea. Let me find the picture of that. Here we go. It's not called the Lee Tea, it's just called the Lee. But it is basically a no sleeve kind of garment with so there's no shaping, you just knit up, and obviously the size, the fact there's lots of positive ease gives you a little sort of sleeve, and then it's got a nice kind of garter stitch yoke detail. This garment is designed with a lot of positive ease. I don't have enough, so this is the craziness of this project, okay? I don't have enough yarn to knit the size that I would usually knit for myself. So I calculated how much yarn I had, and I have cast on for the size that I probably have enough yarn for. In reality, okay, so let me just go to the pattern page so that I can get this right. So the size that I've cast on for requires 670 yards of yarn. I think I have 650. So not only am I knitting a garment that possibly won't fit me, I possibly don't have enough yarn. But if I went to the next size down, it definitely wouldn't fit me. But I think there is a chance that this size will fit me. It just won't have masses of positive ease. And the other thing that I did to get me up to the like 650 yards of the 670 that the pattern requires was I found one ball. So I've got, I don't know, 10 or 11 balls of this chocolate brown, and then I found one ball in this purple colour. So this purple colour brings me up to like the 650 yards. As you can see, I've used that. I know you're thinking, what the hell is going on here, Angela? Cast on a project that you shouldn't have, in a size that probably won't fit, and in yarn that you probably don't have enough of. What can I say? What can I say? Not a lot, really. So I cast this on Friday night. The yarn was whispering to me, sighing at myself. Because it's a bulky or a chunky weight yarn, I have made pretty good progress. So yeah, cast on Friday night, maybe like 10 PM or something like that. Knit on it for an hour or so, knit for a couple of hours on it yesterday, and here is my progress so far. So as you can see, I have used the purple to do, this is knit from the bottom up. So I've used the purple to cast on. I am using the brown to work up the body. And once you get to the top of the garment, you split again to work flat. So you cast, these two garter panels were cast on flat. So as you can see there, you cast on the front and the back, and then you join to knitting around. When you get to the top, you split again. So my plan at the moment is obviously to get to the point where I split again and to see how much yarn I've got left. And what I'm thinking is when I get to that point, I shall divide my yarn in half, whatever I have left, and I will knit the front, so the garter front yoke. And then if that takes more than half of the yarn that I have left, I'm going to just knit the back garter yoke in a different colour. I don't have any more of this yarn, but I have other chunky yarns in the shop. The pattern was knit originally in Rowan Cocoon, and we stock that. Rowan Cocoon's a bit fluffier, but I think that will work. So obviously I am planning on, I think you pick up and knit a tiny wee sleeve band, so I'm planning on using that lovely purpley colour for that, and I will probably knit maybe the last round and the cast off at the top, also in this purple colour. So yeah. It's fine, you can tell me I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy, I know. I am also one of the drivers for me casting this on, and again, more craziness. I wanted to try out these needles. So in the shop this week, we are now stockists of Licker needles. So Licker Driftwood needles. I've got one interchangeable set in stock, and I've got 5-inch needle tips in the majority of the sizes that they make. And I really wanted to try these out, and they're gorgeous. I absolutely love them. I've heard mixed reviews about these, but they're so smooth and lovely. They're made from birch, and then they are stained, I guess, to these beautiful sort of grey and blue tones. The join, these are interchangeable. The join's nice and smooth. I'm just really enjoying working on them. So yeah. That's my crazy cast on for this week. Obviously there's no deadline for it, it's just a bit of fun. Well, it's meant to be fun. Remind me I said that when I run out of yarn and it doesn't fit. You know, I'm enjoying working with the yarn, I'm enjoying working with the needles. It's pretty mindless at the moment. I'm just knitting round and round and round and round. It's knitting up really quickly, so you know, worst case scenario, I knit it, it doesn't fit, I can rip it out and go back and knit one of those shawls that I probably should have knit in the first place. so that's my Lee. Yeah, I'm laughing at how stupid I am. My Lee is living in this beautiful tote bag that my friend Lisa, again, she didn't make this one, but she sent it to me in an early birthday package. No skein, no gain. So I felt that was pretty appropriate for this project, which is a bit of a no risk, no gain kind of project. Oh, keep your fingers crossed that the gods of knitting are on my side and this thing not only takes less than the yarn that I've got but also fits me when it's finished. Madness. Right, so that is it for the works in progress this week. I mentioned that my family are coming to visit next weekend, and the reason they're coming to visit is it's my birthday next Friday. So I shall be planning a birthday cast on. At the moment it is a toss-up between the 2 colour socks, which, as I have the yarn already wound up and the pattern ready to go, is the favourite at the moment. But I'm also thinking about possibly casting on another garment, which is just crazy, isn't it? I think I've got about 6 garments on the go now, and I'm thinking about casting on another. But my lovely friend Jen, who is Hot Diggity You on Instagram, gifted me the Angelus Novus pattern for my birthday, probably the year before last, and I still haven't got around to casting that on. It's been in my queue forever. So I'm thinking that might be also a fitting cast on, but I think the Angelus Novus is knit in, I think it's knit in a slightly thicker DK yarn, so that will probably involve some swatching, and I don't have yarn specifically in mind for that, so I'll have to steal something from the shop. So that's kind of what is putting me off, not putting me off, but that is what's pushing that down into second place in terms of possible birthday cast-ons. But if the Angelus Novus doesn't go on for my birthday, it will definitely be part of my 12 cast-ons for Christmas later on this year. Yeah, I've just really enjoyed that process of adding things to the needles that I've wanted to cast on for the longest time, and then just slowly working on through them. And as I've knit a fair way through all of those projects this year, yeah, it's kind of and we've still got plenty of the year to go, so I'm kind of hoping by the end of the year that I will have the majority, if not all of those that I cast on last Christmas done. Yeah, I'm just waffling now, waffling. My ginger tea is now cold, but that's okay because it tastes delicious anyway. I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes and enjoy the rest of my cold tea, and I'm going to chow down on one of these Reese's peanut butter cups that Lisa sent me. Relax, contemplate my madness. And then I'm going to head downstairs and jolly well get knitting on some of these projects that I keep casting on. This is quite a long video. Hopefully it'll get shorter in the editing. There's a few bits I know I need to chop out, but with any luck there will be a short section coming up with shop chatter, so I shall see you in a second. Hi, it's not Monday afternoon at all. I know I said I was going to be back Monday afternoon, but it has been a week. Not in a bad way, it's just been a week. So it's now Wednesday afternoon. It's coming up to 5 o'clock. I have just closed the shop, but before I go home I thought I would finally get round to recording this quick little snippet of video that I wanted to post at the end here. Just a little bit of a shop update. And actually, by waiting, I've got a couple of additional things that I can quickly talk about as well, which is great. So I just wanted to let you know about a couple of new things that have come into the shop this week. So first off is a pattern book, and I have got Rowan's New Nordic, which is a lovely collection by Arne and Carlos, who are very well-known Scandinavian designers, and they are working currently with Rowan, and they've been using some kid silk haze and some felted tweed to come up with a beautiful new collection. So that is one new thing that we have in the shop. I'm not going to talk too much about that because I might get around to recording a couple of book review videos soon, so I shall save that for if I do that. The main thing I wanted to talk to you about is a brand new yarn that's just come into store, and this is Stylecraft's Cozy Chunky, which is a beautiful, it's so soft, it's literally as light as a feather. This is obviously a big 100-gram ball, and you barely feel like you're holding anything. It's lovely and soft as well. The fibre content is, I'm just going to quickly read it off the label, it's 59% acrylic, 15% metallic, 14% alpaca and 12% nylon. So I think it's the alpaca that gives it the lovely softness. The balls are a really good value, 100 grams as I say. They retail at £4.95 a ball, and there's a free hat pattern on the ball band. So yesterday I spent some time knitting up the hat. I knit the smallest size, but it's quite generously proportioned, and again, it's just so light. I put a picture on our Instagram page and Facebook page of James modelling this. It's just a really super cute, simple beanie. You can probably just about see the sort of subtle metallic shiny bits to this yarn, so it's not over the top if you don't like super sparkly. But it's got that really nice kind of glittery sheen if you do. It comes in just 5 colours. So there's the lovely sort of deep navy blue that I've shown you already. There's this one, which is a lighter sort of bluey green. Now these aren't going to show up too well on the camera because there's also a grey. They look fairly similar. In person you can definitely see the colour difference, but on the camera it doesn't really pick that up too much. Then there's a lovely burgundy shade and also pink. It comes with a whole range of different patterns, so if you don't fancy making the hat on the ball band, there are a couple of garment patterns and also some more accessories. So I'll just show you the garment pattern, which gives you an idea of how that knits up. These patterns go up to a size 50-inch chest, and for the largest size I think it's something like 5 balls of the yarn, so we're talking about 25 quid to make a lovely jumper, which I think is pretty good value. A few people asked me when I started knitting up, and I've been showing this on Instagram for a couple of days. A few people asked me whether the yarn would be okay for crochet, so I decided to give it a go. All of the patterns that have been released to accompany the yarn are knit patterns, but I found a little pattern on Ravelry called Bunny, and I'll put the name of the designer down on the screen here because I'm never going to be able to pronounce her name, unfortunately. But here is my little bunny. I think he's pretty cute. He's just a kind of big squishy amigurumi. I haven't stuffed him out super tightly, partly because I just started him on a hook that I had handy, which is a 6mm hook, which for this yarn is the recommended needle size, but obviously for a toy that you want to stuff, you usually go down a size or 2, just to get a nice dense fabric so the stuffing doesn't show through the holes. So I didn't want to stuff him out super tight, and also he's nice and squishy now. And my customers who come to our regular classes and groups, a lot of them have been just petting and fondling this yarn because it's so soft. So I thought, actually, if I crochet up a little pet from it, then people can pet and fondle Bunny and keep their mitts off the yarn balls. Not that I encourage that, because obviously yarn is made for squishing. So but yeah, one of my customers yesterday literally just sat with a ball of this on her lap and was just sort of sitting there stroking it. So she did buy the yarn in the end. So I thought, yeah, it'd be nice to have just a squishy, squashy little creature. This bunny pattern's a free pattern on Ravelry. It was really quick to make up. So as I say, I basically knit the hat and I crocheted the bunny yesterday, and they took a few hours each. So I finished the bunny off this morning. But yeah, the crochet. So if you are interested in crocheting with this yarn, as you can see, it's definitely doable, but I wouldn't recommend it for a novice crocheter. I think you need a couple of projects under your belt before you tackle this yarn. The only reason is this yarn is obviously quite fluffy, so it's got you know, a lot of sort of halo to it, for want of a better word. So the stitch definition is not high, I would say. So for a crochet pattern, when you're trying to go through your loops, it was a little tricky to see where the stitch was. However, obviously, as you can see, I crocheted this up in a couple of hours, no problem at all. So if you've got a couple of crochet projects under your belt and you have kind of got the feel of what feels right when your hook goes into a stitch, you'll have no problem making anything crochet wise with this. I tried a few different iterations of crochet. Originally I was going to crochet a hat, because I thought, you know, a knit hat and a crochet hat, that would sort of show the yarn off. And then I started just crocheting a really basic kind of like start at the crown of the hat and increase out. And then I got part way through and I didn't really like it as a hat, and I thought, oh, I'll make a little bowl, because it was sitting quite nicely. As you can imagine, if you sort of chopped Bunny's head off, that's basically a little bowl or a little basket, and that looked quite cute. And then I thought, actually, why am I doing this? Because so many people have been enjoying the tactile experience of this yarn. I should definitely make some sort of squishy toy. So that's how I ended up making Bunny. So yeah, it's proving to be a pretty popular yarn. It's only been in for a few days and it's selling pretty well, so that's always nice, because I've probably mentioned before, it can be a little bit of a risk bringing in new stuff, because I have to buy it all up front, have to pay for it up front, and there's no guarantee that I'm going to sell it on afterwards. So it's nice when I bring in something that's popular. So I'm always on the lookout for things that are slightly different to what I already have in stock. So this definitely fit the bill. I don't have really anything that's sparkly at the moment, so, and we're coming into obviously the autumn winter season, so more chunky yarns and Aran weight yarns I am on the lookout for, and this is fairly affordable and felt really nice. So yeah, ticked lots of boxes for me for when I'm looking for new yarn. So that's the Stylecraft Cozy Chunky. The second yarn product that I just wanted to quickly mention is the West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply yarn. Now, I have had this in stock for a little while. Mainly I have been stocking the Florist range, which was the new range that they brought out this year. But I've decided to expand my colours in the West Yorkshire Spinners, as it's a really nice yarn. Great for socks, great for shawls. And yeah, I wanted to get a few of the stronger colours because the Florist collection is quite pastel, quite muted. So I added a couple of colourways to the Birds range. I already had the Wood Pigeon in stock, so I've now got Peacock and Goldfinch, and I've also bought in a couple of the solid colours to complement those. So the bright shades, I've got Sour Apple, which is really bright green, Bubblegum, which is a bright blue, then Nutmeg, Turmeric and Poppy Seed also came in this week. I'm not showing them to you as I speak because I've packed them away nicely on the sock shelf. So I'm just going to quickly grab the camera and flip you around and just do a quick shot of those new colours that have come in. Here they are along the bottom of the shelf. So that's the Bubblegum, that's the Peacock, Sour Apple, Goldfinch, Turmeric, Nutmeg and Poppy Seed, and they make quite a nice addition to the other colours that we already have in stock for that yarn, I think. So the final product that I just wanted to mention quickly is the Licker driftwood needles. I think I might have mentioned this in the video that I recorded on Monday, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm repeating myself, and maybe I'll make this a short little cut if I have already mentioned this. But before now I haven't stocked any interchangeable needles in the shop, and I know that seems crazy because I love knitting with interchangeables myself, but there hasn't been a huge demand for them from the people that have come into the shop so far. I do have a couple of people who knit with interchangeables, and I have been able to order tips and cords for them as they've requested. My supplier for Knit Pro needles are brilliant, and providing I sort of order in the morning, they'll be here the next day if they've got stuff in stock. So for that sort of thing, I can, you know, get hold of them really quickly. But I thought I'd give these a go because we've sort of seen them everywhere online, and they seem to be pretty popular. I know a few people have said that they haven't always got on with these needles, but I think it's the same with any brand of needle that you look at. Once you start looking at reviews, there's some people who love them, some people who hate them. So I always say to people, you know, you buy a pair, one pair, give them a go and see what you think. So far I have loved them. I find them really smooth. I have had no problem with the joins. I'm really enjoying knitting with these. So in stock I have a range of the 5-inch needle tips along with cords. So I've got sizes, I think start from 3.5 up to 12mm needles. And I've got cords from 60 centimetres up to I think something like 150 centimetres maybe. I haven't gone crazy. I've ordered a few pairs of each, and I have one set of the interchangeables in a really sexy case. I should probably go and grab that and show you. Yeah, I'll just go and grab that quickly. So I just hopped up and grabbed this set, and I was chuckling to myself all the way across the shop because I just described this as a really sexy needle case. Is there such a thing? I don't know. I've gone crazy, haven't I? But I think if ever there was a sexy needle case, this is it. So this is the, sorry for the crinkling, I don't really want to take it out of the package because I want to try and keep it as pristine as possible. It's quite an investment. The whole set is £115, which is why I want to keep it nice and clean, so that if anyone does want to purchase this, then yeah, the set's perfect. So you get the needle tip, 12 pairs of needle tips, various cords, connectors, keys and stoppers, and obviously the really nice sort of grey case. You can't see that super well in the plastic, but I'm sorry guys, this time I'm just not going to take it out. So yeah, that's it for the Licker needles. The individual tips are £6.50 for a set, and the cords are £2 each. I have tried these tips on my Knit Pro cords and they seem to fit okay. So I think if you have a set of cords at home, obviously I would always recommend using the cords that go with the needles in the first instance if you can get hold of them. But if not, as I say, I've tried them with my Knit Pro and they seem to be okay. So I think that is everything that I wanted to tell you today. I feel like I've rushed through this little bit at the end, so sorry if I am super fast. I just want to try and keep the video length down, and I know that not tons of people are always interested in the shop talk, so yeah, just keeping it brief. I think I shall wrap up the video now. I am looking forward to one more day in the shop, and then I am having a day off on Friday. We're closing the shop for the day. It's my birthday, so I'm having a day off. I know, super selfish. My family are coming up. I'm really excited to spend a couple of days with them. I haven't seen my dad for ages, like I think it's 2 years since I've seen my dad, and it's been nearly a year since I've seen my brother, so yeah, really looking forward to some nice family time over the weekend. I have finally decided on my birthday cast on, but I think I'll keep that a secret till next episode, and so I shall wrap it up here. And I wanted to say a big thank you all for sticking with me to the end of the video if you have. I hope that you have had a wonderful week and that you are getting to do lots of the things that you enjoy doing, and until next time, great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.